everybody, here we go! Off to Neverland!
Hi guys, so it is November 11th and I'm really sorry that I have not been posting so much because it's been about 3 or 4 weeks since my last post and I'm sorry, but I've been working so much. I've been working 2 jobs, which I started a little bit ago, and I've been trying to save a lot of money for my CP since I'm not technically in school anymore since I already graduated, and I've got student loans to start paying back and a lot of other bills that I really don't want to think about, which are going to be really hard to pay on a CP salary. So I'm trying to save as much as I can and work as much as I can to save as much money because you don't make very much once rent comes out. So I've been doing that a lot. So that's my first big life update. My second big life update is this beauty. Look at it. Look how perfect. So this is my second one, and I'm still just as excited that I got this in the mail as I was my first one because it's just beautiful and it's like the official, like the email you get that says congratulations is pretty official, but like this is physical and like you can hold this in your hand and it's just so pretty and I love it. Quick advice, if you don't receive your postcard in the mail, you can email recruiting with your name and your address and they will send you a postcard as soon as possible. Especially now if you haven't gotten yours yet, now would be the time to start emailing them because you want this postcard. It's a really cool souvenir and you can put it with like your name tag and your traditions years. Third life update. So today was the 11th, which means yesterday was the 10th. And you know what that means. Yesterday was my 2-month mark of my check-in date for my second college program, and I cannot believe how fast time is flying by. Like, I feel like we were just at our 3-month, 100-day or whatever mark, and I can't believe that I'm already at 2 months. It's crazy. Like, the wait for spring is so much better than the wait for fall because I got accepted in February and had to wait till August. So that was like February, March, April, May, June, July, August. It was like 7 months. 7 whole months. And now I've got 2 months left and I can't believe it. Like, it's almost Thanksgiving in like 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks now. And then once Thanksgiving hits, it's Christmas and then it just goes by like that because everyone's so busy during the holidays. So it's basically like I'm basically already almost down there and I can't believe it. Like I can't wrap my head around it that I leave soon and I'm just ready for my adventure with my roommates or hopeful roommates because they're amazing and I'm just ready for my second adventure down there. Can't believe it. So talking of roommates, my last video was about housing and this one is about roommates and transportation. To me, those are 2 really big things that can make or break your program. Other than your work location, it can really kind of decide how much you enjoy your program or how much you don't enjoy your program. It can make you decide to self-term. It can get you termed. So they're very big things that I think that deserve an entire vlog about. And if you're gonna watch any of my vlogs or take advice from any of my vlogs or listen to a single word I say at all, please listen to what I'm saying in this video because it is very important. Disney gives you the option to choose roommates or go in random. So if you go in random, only 3 things decide your housing. Whether you're over or under 21, your arrival date and your departure date, and your list of preferences in the order that you put them. Where they put you from there is completely random, so you could end up with people you don't know, obviously. So if you are up for the adventure, go in for random. Because I've heard a lot of positive things about it. I've also heard a lot of negative things about it. So, just word of the wise, you could end up either way. But that's also true with when you pick your roommates as well. Disney also gives you the option to link up with people from 2 to 8 people, depending on your arrival date and what their availability is, about 2 to 3 weeks before your arrival date. So, my first CP, we were only able to link up with 3 people because we were the second to last arrival date for all the fall and fall advantage. So there was only one after us. So we kind of got like the last dibs. And as the farther the arrival dates go in, the less and less opportunities there are for you to link up with people. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at roommates, because there is a possibility that while you find 6 or 8 girls or guys or more people you have, in the later your arrival date is, there's a chance that you might not be able to link up with each other. So just really keep that in mind, and if it happens, don't be really surprised, because it does happen. So we were only able to link up at 3 my last college program, and what we did, this would be my personal advice, is if this happens to you, which anyone arriving late January, first week of February, you might have to deal with this. So there was 4 of us my first CP, and we could only link up with 3. So what we did is that we each split 2 and 2 in half, and we decided to put the same housing preferences, and then we emailed housing and just said, listen, we can't link up with each other, but we put the same housing preferences, and we would really like to be roommates. And it turns out we were able to. We found that out at check-in, but we actually got 2 new roommates on top of it. So instead of a 4-person apartment, we ended up in a 6-person apartment, which turned out amazing. It worked out really well for us. So we did a mix of random and a mix of pre-chosen roommates. So it can work out in your favor. So just remember that. So you won't be able to officially link up with your roommates until later in the process, which is a good thing. It gives you plenty of time to find roommates, because my other big piece of advice is to don't just pick people, like the first people you see that have your arrival date. Really like search for people. Like you don't just want to get like the first people you find, because they might not be so compatible with you, and that's really important. The other big thing is making sure that you find people that you're comfortable with, and people that you don't think or hope that are going to break housing rules. Because if you're in a wellness apartment, and if anybody in your apartment has any alcohol or anything in your apartment and brings it in, there's a possibility that everyone in that apartment could get termed. So it is a big deal coming with housing rules. So just make sure you find people that aren't going to break those, because that would literally be the worst way to get fired for something that you didn't even do. So just be careful with that. My other big thing is something that I wasn't expecting personally, but I've seen it happen. If you pay attention and watch Disney vlogs, you'll see that this happens all the time, whether or not you actually realize it. You go into the college program and check-in day is great, and you're all best friends like right off the bat, because it's exciting and you're all doing this adventure together and going into the first week of the park, and the first day you get to go into Magic Kingdom together and cry during wishes, and you're all best friends. And then you notice that as the work starts, and as the deeper you get into the program, that you're going to find yourself, one, connecting with particular people in the apartment more than others. So you'll be hanging out with those people a little bit more. You're not going to have as many opportunities to get all 6 or 8 of your roommates together in one room at the same time, because everyone has different work schedules, and it's really hard for it to happen unless you all request off the same day. But because everyone has different work schedules, you'll have opportunities to bond with more people more. You'll have the opportunities to bond with some people more than others, which means you'll be closer with certain people in your apartment. It happened in my apartment. Like, I was closer to 2 of the other girls that lived in the apartment because we tended to have the same days off, so we would go into the parks together all the time, and our personalities just fit a little bit better. But we were all of us in the apartment were really close. So it's not saying that you're not all going to be best friends. You're just going to be closer to some people than others. So expect that. Don't expect to be perfect best friends with everybody in the apartment, but you're still going to be a family, if that makes sense. So that's something I would expect and try to remember as you go into this process. So it will happen. So if you watch vlogs, I'm telling you, you'll notice that 1 or 2, like, everyone appears really early on in the apartment, and then you slowly see people dwindle off, and they only hang out with like 1 or 2 people towards the end. I'm telling you, it happens. So watch out for it. My biggest piece of advice is get to know each other before you arrive in Orlando. My first CP, we did a group message on Facebook, and we would talk and share stuff that was happening in each other's lives while we waited, and it was really nice kind of getting to know these girls beforehand. This time around, my roommates and I have a group message, and it is amazing, and we are really getting to know and really love each other, and it's really kind of already creating that connection, and I really enjoy getting to know them already. If you live close around one of your roommates, try to do a meetup, meet them in person. If none of you live close to each other, try doing a Google Hangout or FaceTime or Skype or something to try to get to know each other more face to face than just online. I think it's important to start building the connections with your roommates early, because the more connected you are, the more communication and the more honesty you're going to have once you get to Disney. And that's really important because you want to live in an apartment where there is an open dialogue about things, where people feel comfortable even kind of dealing with conflict in calm, respectful ways, because that is another thing that causes a lot of drama, is conflict. Because it will happen when you throw a bunch of girls or guys into a very small confined space on very little sleep, very little money, etc. Lots of different personalities and backgrounds and values and all of these things. I mean, you're bound to have conflicts about people who leave dishes in the sink, or people that aren't picking their fair weight and cleaning, or people that are watching TV too loud while some people are trying to sleep, or etc. Like, you're gonna have issues with people that you're living with. It happens in families, it happens in dorm rooms, it happens in Disney. I know, like, whoa, mind blown. Like, the next thing I'm gonna talk about is transportation. I know, everyone's favorite subject. I'm sure by now that you've all heard horror stories. You've seen the pictures of the buses on fire, or the buses crowded, breaking down, buses just waiting for hours and hours in random spots. Like, I'm sure you've heard it all, you've seen it all from the Facebook pages or from vlogs or whatever. So I'm sure you've seen it. And yes, I'm going to be 100% honest here and say that Transtar, while being free and an awesome service to cast members in the college program, it is not the most reliable thing in the world at all. So I've got some tips and tricks to survive Transtar and make it out alive. My number one tip is that if you can, and if it's possible, and you are able to, and you can afford it, bring a car. I know obviously that's not a realistic expectation for everybody, but if you can bring a car, please bring one. If you're playing in the parks, and specifically this is the Magic Kingdom because it's always an issue and a heated topic, but I'm just going to share my own personal beliefs and the things that I do just to kind of make it easier for everybody. If you're playing in the parks, if you have a car, you can drive because you can park for free, and I recommend that if you're playing in the park. If you have to use the buses, I also recommend that you take a resort bus, or you take a bus from the TTC. The problem with Magic Kingdom is that there are 4 buses that run for Magic Kingdom, they all stop at the resorts in the Magic Kingdom loop before getting to the cast member bus stop. And at closing, the cast member bus stop can have about 150 CPs waiting to get on the bus. And it is not a very big bus, so sometimes you'll have to wait 3 buses for them to go by, which can be about an hour and a half before you can get on the bus to go back to housing. And the reason being is if you leave at park close and CPs are getting done at park close, you all get to get on the resort buses first, and then it comes to West Clock and there's only like 10 or 15 seats left, and then you can only squeeze about an extra 20 people on in the seats. So if you are playing in the parks all day, offer your seat to someone that's in costume that worked all day, because they've probably been on their feet all day long and they're exhausted. They've probably been working a 12-hour shift, and it's just a lot of kindness, and you're spreading a little magic for somebody else. If you go to a resort and take a bus from there, chances are you will have a seat and there will be enough seats for everybody, since most cast members that are CPs work in parks over the resorts. Those buses are not as busy, but Magic Kingdom is where most CPs are placed, is what I've noticed. So it can be a lot. So just be kind to one another, in the words of Ellen DeGeneres, because you will get a lot more respect from that, and good karma will be sent out to the universe, and you'll make magic for somebody, even if it's a cast member, and they'll probably make magic for someone else in return. So it's a circle of life, y'all. My piece of advice is to leave yourself 30 to 40 minutes between when your shift starts to when the bus gets to your spot, because that saves time for traffic, or if the bus happens to break down, you need to catch another bus, and it just gives you time to get to your where you have to clock in. My last piece of advice for Transtar is look at the schedule, and there'll be highlighted times. Those highlighted times are considered rider switches. Rider switches are the worst part of Transtar, in my opinion. Rider switches happen at Vista, and they're highlighted in the times guide so you know when they're happening. Avoid those buses at all costs because you can be stuck at Vista for about a half hour to 45 minutes. Not lying, it sucks. When you know you have to get to work on time and you're just sitting at Vista and watching the time go by because the bus drivers are switching. I don't know why it takes so long. I don't know what they're doing. But that's what happens, and avoid it at all costs because it is the worst. Not all rider switches are that long, but I've had it happen. I've had friends that have had it happen, and avoid it because you do not want to be stuck on that bus. So like I said, those are my tips for surviving roommates and Transtar transportation. Please listen to what I said, or at least I hope that you've listened to what I've said and take it into consideration when you're choosing your roommates or when you finally get down there and enjoy Transtar. So I think it's important, and it really will make or break your program. Ask an alumni. They'll probably say that those were two of the worst things about their program because they'll probably say that it's the two most important things about their program other than work location, because you can control roommates, you can control transportation a little bit. So it's kind of important to how you look back on your program, and you want to be able to look back on your program with a smile. So I just want to thank everybody for subscribing and for watching and commenting and liking my videos. I am so humbled by your views, and your kind words, and the followings. And I'm just very grateful to be sharing this experience with you guys. I know a lot of you that have been subscribing to me are fellow Spring 2017 DCPers, and I'm so excited to share this journey with you all, and I can't wait to be down there in 2 months, which I know in a lot of terms it feels like it's a long time, but it's really not a lot of time, to be honest, and it's gonna fly by so fast. We're almost there. To my fellow Spring 17, to my fellow Spring 2017 college program friends and strangers, whether or not I know you or not. To all of my fellow Spring 2017 DCPers, we are almost there. Woo! We are almost there, and I just can't believe it. Ugh, it's so soon. Y'all, we're almost there. To all of my fellow Spring 2017 DCPers, we are almost there, and it's gonna go by faster than you think. So thanks for watching, guys, and I really hope you enjoyed this little informative video about surviving things like roommates and Transtar while doing your Disney College program, and I will see you all real soon. Bye, guys!